decided to escalate again within the year, second time within the year, does not bode well for the region. We were going off of a very promising trajectory in the negotiation.
We have to clarify continuing and we are fully prepared to continue to work. We understand your fear, and we still have difficult and challenging days ahead of us. And we call you to be to show solidarity. You are our top priority, and I'm calling you not to show to working together with our defense and soldiers. Everyone is mobilized within the different relevant authorities in order to ensure your safety and security during this war. I will keep you updated in this regard. Do you have any questions? Do you have any estimation on how long reaffirm that our goal and top
Person talked about 500 bombs, talked about taking out the head of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, and there is already some speculation that this supposed visual evidence that some sources said that Benjamin Netanyahu had received of Khamenei's death and Khamenei's body are not exactly corroborated, and some sources are not even sure that this evidence exists. In all cases, what we have are messages from the Israeli army that are very clear. Israel knows where to strike. It knows who it is striking. It is targeting all of the officials, all of the top leadership of Iran's government and Iran's military structure, especially the Revolutionary Guard. Now, this is a point that it shares with the United States. It says that it is in close coordination. The assassination attempts per se seem to be more focused on the Israeli side. And of course, we noticed there that the spokesperson of the army was asked about how long this can take, and he said it will take however long as it will take, and that the Israeli army is ready. This is really a very important relations term for Benjamin Netanyahu, who's usually be very careful about his public appearances, who's known to be masterful in speaking to the press and in trying to create a narrative that will serve his purposes politically.
Noura there, joining us from Ramallah on the occupied West Bank. Now, you're watching our continuing coverage of the joint Israeli and U.S. attacks on Iran. Senior Israeli officials have told the Reuters news agency that Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, has been killed. But Iran's state media and Tasnim and Mehr news agencies are reporting that Khamenei is, quote, steadfast and firm in commanding in the field. This is a satellite image that was captured by Mehr news agencies are reporting that Khamenei is, quote,
Times showing an earlier strike on Khamenei's office in
commanding
Tehran.
in the field.
And Israeli officials have been quoted on state
image
media warning
by
of mental warfare.
following reports of the supreme leader's death. Well, Tohid Asadi joins us live now from Tehran. Well, there's at least now we're getting something that
Khamenei Times showing an earlier strike on Khamenei's office in
commanding in the
Tehran.
field.
Whether or not
has
been quoted on state media warning of mental warfare.
Following reports of the supreme leader's death.
Well, actually, following the reports that we had from the Israeli sources, we can rest assured that according to the Iranian official sources, they are saying that these reports are not true. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi earlier today came out to say that as far as he knows, quote unquote, Iran's supreme leader, as well as Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, as well as the Speaker of the Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, and also the Supreme National Security Council Secretary, Ali Larijani, are all alive. This is what we heard from the Iranian Foreign Minister. Also, we've got the head of the public relations of the Supreme Leader's office, coming out after these reports to say that actually he wrote on a social media post that this is part of the cycle neighborhood is one of the, or I can say, the most politically important neighborhood in the capital. It houses the office of president, it houses the office of actually supreme leader, and also it houses two important military universities. So we had these reports and we saw that this area was targeted. But of course, speaking of the official statement from the country, we don't have any confirmation regarding the death of Iran's supreme leader.
Right, Toheda Sadi there, joining us from Tehran. I can report these are the skies over Doha at the moment. There have been several explosions. No impact yet that we can see. That is obviously one of our reporters from our Arabic cousins station. Well, we've got the sounds of these missiles being taken out by Patriots. We can see the action, what is taking place in the skies above Doha. Well, while we monitor the situation here, let us get over now to Washington, D.C., and get over to Mike Hanna, who's there. Mike, what have we been hearing from the White House and from Trump's associates?
Well, President Trump has been giving interviews to a few media outlets. He says that things are going very well, as we put it. He also says that there's an option he's got to take over the whole thing, is what he says, or end it in 2 or 3 days, and then tell Iran, see you. Has also been briefing reporters. They say that the president had no choice. They insist as well that one of the reasons for this attack was that because the president was not satisfied with the negotiations, and that Iran had not been negotiating seriously, as the administration spokesperson said. So that's the kind of detail that we are getting out of administration, and also what President Trump is saying publicly himself.
Mike Hanna there. Let's get over to Axel Zebovich, who's live right here in Doha. And actually, you can hear these explosions in the studio itself here. What can you see and what is happening?
Well, right now, I think this there's been any damage on the military infrastructure, if there's been any damage on the residential areas, but this is the situation, what I'm seeing right now from this particular location.
And I'm guessing this is probably something which is going on right across the GCC.
Well, that's correct. I was, we were just standing here, and it was quite calm and peaceful in the
comes to you with a clear formula of how this is going to move forward, they would be guessing. I think as your reporter or one of your reporters mentioned the contradictions in the U.S. comes to you with a clear formula of how this is going to move forward, they would be
those
guessing.
contradictions are being lived as
your
we speak
reporter
today
or
across
one of
the
your
Gulf and the
reporters
region.
mentioned the it will take more escalation, I think, before we see a further strain. In terms of going on the ground, we've heard it from all the different parties, whether the US or Israel. They're counting on the people of Iran to rise up. But then again, this is the business of the Iranian people. They shouldn't be intervening in the wishes of what the Iranian people want. They should decide that on themselves.
Well, the thing is, how strong is Tehran and how strong is the government?
Look, we've seen the protests, which garnered a lot of people last month, and we've seen counter-protests that came in support of the current administration. So the picture is quite mixed in Iran, and as there are critics of the regime and the system in place, there are people who are, recipients of or beneficiaries of the system. So that's why it's been kind of a logjam, trying to infiltrate and influence outcomes one way or the other.
Badr, thank you so much. Badr Al-Saif, an assistant professor at Kuwait University. Now, when asked about reports that Iran's supreme leader is dead, Donald Trump's been talking, and he just told NBC News that, quote, "We feel that is a correct story." So that's just something which is emerging. Mike Hanna may have more on this as he joins us again from Washington. Mike.
No, we don't have any further details on that. We just have that statement that was just been already made. President Trump
from Washington, Mike.
Apparently indicating that he believes. No, we don't have any further details on Khamenei has been killed in these ongoing Israeli-US strikes. Statement that was just been already made. President Trump from Washington, Mike. Apparently we're waiting to hear any further comment. No, we don't have any further details on the issue. Has been killed in these reports from the administration. That statement that was just been already made. President Trump from Washington, Mike. We're waiting to hear any further comment from the further details on the issue and any other further reports from the administration. That statement that was just been already made. President Trump from Washington, Mike. We're waiting to hear any further comment from the further details on the issue and any other further reports from the administration. That statement that was just been already made. President Trump from Washington, Mike. We're waiting to hear any further comment from the further details on the issue and any other further reports from the
Supreme Leader is sufficient for him.
From Washington, Mike.
We're waiting to hear any further comment from the further details on the issue and any other further
If killing the Supreme Leader is sufficient for him.
From Washington, Mike.
We're waiting to hear any further comment from the further details on the issue and any other further
If killing the Supreme Leader is sufficient for him.
From Washington, Mike.
We're waiting to hear any further comment
Will
from
really be
the
changed
details on the issue and any other further
If killing the Supreme Leader is sufficient for him.
From Washington, Mike.
We're waiting to hear any further comment
Will
from
really be
the
changed
details on the issue and any other further
If killing the Supreme Leader is sufficient for him.
From Washington, Mike.
We're waiting to hear any further comment
Will
from the
really be
details
changed
on the issue and any other further
If killing the Supreme Leader is sufficient for him.
From Washington, Mike.
We're waiting to hear any further comment
Will
from the
really be
details on the issue and any other further
If killing the Supreme Leader is sufficient for him.
From Washington, Mike.
We're waiting to hear any further comment
Will
from the
really be
details on the issue and any other further
If killing the Supreme Leader is sufficient for him.
From Washington, Mike.
We're waiting to hear any further comment
Will
from the
If killing the supreme leader is sufficient for him,
from Washington, Mike, we're waiting to hear any further comment
will it really be a change to him? If killing the supreme leader is sufficient for him,
and we've got inflation, which is through the roof. I mean, this government is it not?
if killing the supreme leader is sufficient for him, this government, and that's Iran terrorism. The Iranians used to refer to 1,000 families on the Iranian Republic. If killing the supreme leader is sufficient for him, this government, and that's Iran terrorism. The Iranians used to refer to 1,000 families on the transition republic. The Iranians used to refer to 5,000 families on the transition republic.
Escalation or banging, or should I say attacks taking place here.
Escalations from some members of this council
attacks taking place
and from the UN Secretary General. That is the purpose. You all know when the Iranian regime, some members of this council across the region, from the UN, when it expanded missiles and drones, when it advanced its nuclear program in violation of all its commitments, and when it brutally slaughtered its own people. Now, Israel and the US act to prevent an irreversible and immediate threat. And the condemnation is immediate. Some call this aggression, we call it necessity. We call it survival. To the brave soldiers of the US, the IDF, our Air Force, intelligence and security services, you are defending and build the means to carry it out. We do not dismiss it. We do not gamble with our survival. We act. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you. It's Pamela Falk from U.S. News and World Report. Thank you, Ambassador, for the briefing. Since you're talking about regime change, can you confirm whether or not the Iran supreme leader has been killed and what happens next, if so?
We will continue to target the leadership of this radical regime, and we will do whatever necessary to enable the right conditions for a new future for the people of Iran and stability for the region. Thank you.
How long is this going on?
As long as it will take to achieve the goals I just mentioned. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ambassador, the Prime Minister told come on the streets? What's the end goal here for Israel?
I think everyone sees what's happening on the ground and understand that the time for the Iranian people to take control of the future is very soon. Thank you.
Mr. Ambassador. Mr. Ambassador. Thank you. Ambassador.
There you go. That is the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, defending the actions that Israel has taken after launching strikes earlier on this Saturday against Iran. And we're just having a look at what cities in Iran were actually targeted in this joint military joint military operation with the United States. Ume Kulsum Sharif explains.
National Security Council and the Iran Islamic Revolutionary Guards Intelligence Center. Here's what's happened. This satellite image shows the extent of the damage to the Supreme Leader's office and plumes of smoke that we are seeing. Reuters news agency has said the Supreme Leader was not in Tehran at the time of the attack. But the biggest casualty we are seeing is down here in the south in Minab. Here's what's happened. A girls' elementary school was hit. The Iran foreign minister says children are among dozens of people who have been killed. Now, from this satellite image, we gather all these are houses. It's a residential stretch. And on this side, agricultural land. We're not sure why the school was hit and if there are any military installations around here. Now, Iran, for its part, says it will retaliate and has been retaliating by targeting U.S. military bases right across the stretch. So we've seen explosions that have been reported throughout the day. We've seen missile interceptions that have also been taken place. Now, Iran, for its part, says it will attack Israel and has launched missiles into Israel. Weeks of tensions, weeks of diplomacy, and weeks of military build-up has now resulted in this.
Well, indeed, Mike Hanna is joining us from Washington, D.C. Donald Trump's been speaking again, this time telling NBC that he thinks that the Supreme Leader may well be gone.
Yes, in an interview with American media, President Trump has just said that we feel that this is a correct story, were his exact words in that particular interview. He then continued and added the sentence, most of Iran's leadership is gone. That's the view of the President of the United States. We haven't had any other confirmation from other administration officials or even claims as to this, but we've just heard from the President saying those particular words, that as far as he concerns, it appears that the Iranian Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, has been killed in these ongoing strikes by the US and Israel. We've also had further briefings from administration officials who are repeating the allegation that Iran had stepped back during the negotiation process and pointing out as well that the ongoing strikes at the moment are aimed largely at the Iranian conventional missile facilities, saying that there was also evidence, the administration officials claim, that Iran was busy rebuilding those nuclear facilities, which the US claimed to have completely destroyed last year.
Mike Hanna there in Washington. Let's get to Ramallah on the occupied West Bank. Nida Ibrahim joins us live from there. Nida, what is the latest? We're certainly having another attack take place in the last half an hour in Doha. What about in Israel and the West Bank?
We also had another wave of Iranian missiles that all at least one were, where they were intercepted, but at least one has made its way, according to the Israeli Channel 14, causing major damage in one of the buildings inside Tel Aviv. Now, where we are standing right now is a place that is overlooking the city of Tel Aviv and many other Israeli areas that were under attack, and we've seen the rockets fly above head. Also, we've seen the interceptors meeting them halfway, let's say, in the air. But all in all, when we talk about where we are right now in the occupied West Bank, there are so many Palestinians, but also there are the illegal Israeli settlements, and these settlements have been given so much protection when it comes to shelters, when it comes to places where people can stay in safely, but also in terms of the batteries, the interceptors that usually work to fend off or defend the citizens from the Iranian attacks. But at this point, as we speak, the Palestinians stay without any shelter whatsoever, and the interceptors are faced the other way to protect the Israelis and not the Palestinians. But indeed, from what we've been seeing today and tonight, it seems like this last wave has been the largest in terms of the number of missiles, and at least one of them has succeeded to not be intercepted and hit a building in Tel Aviv. According to the Israeli ambulances, they say that their teams have rushed to the area where the missile has fell, and they will
.999 in order to report. These shrapnel, also to receive the information only from official sources, not to post or share any videos.
Well, you've just been listening to a press conference here in Qatar as the day closes, and more than 66 missiles have been fired at the state of Qatar, missiles and drones. James Bays, Al Jazeera's diplomatic editor, joins us on set. This is, in many respects, James, the worst nightmare for so many Gulf countries who bank on stability and security to develop their economic vision. And what we have is 60